So let's briefly go over your real estate journey in terms of before you, because you've been with SIF for a few years now, right?
Yeah, I've been with Sift for probably like 3 years. I don't know, since it
Three
was on the old
years.
platform. Yeah.
Okay. And you were doing real estate prior?
Yes.
Okay. What did that look and feel like? What were you doing? How were you operating? Were you successful?
So getting into real estate, I accidentally stumbled into it because I kind of accidentally had a rental property, right? I bought a
Hmm.
house, moved, the market sucked, couldn't sell the house, so I just rented it out. Then that it actually worked, and I was like, shit, let's just do that again. So I had a couple, rental properties, and then like, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Panama City. We had Hurricane Michael just kind of wipe our whole city out. And after that, it was super easy to find deals. I just threw bandit signs up, and I'd get 2 or 3 qualified leads a day. So that's kind of where I learned about the active income side and cut my teeth. Um, but a year or two into that, everything started to dry up. It started to get a little more difficult to find deals, so I had to figure something out. And I had met Tyler, over those few years because he was marketing over here, and just saw his software and figured I'd give it a shot. And the rest is history, I guess.
Okay. And then obviously I know what your current arrangement looks like. I know you're doing really well. But what does your real estate company look like now? I mean, in terms of team size, day-to-day operations. I mean, how far has your real estate business come?
So team size, we've got 3 VAs that work for us, and like our team's completely virtual. I'm the only one here local. So I basically do like acquisitions and then project management. And the team takes care of data intake, cold calling, and lead management.
Okay.
So it's kind of how we've got it built out right now. I'm hoping to work myself out of the business at some point, but still kind of in the day to day right now.
Beautiful. What's your goal when you get out of the business?
I mean, at some point, I'd like to find somebody to replace me on the acquisition side.
Okay.
Maybe just go work and look at projects. I mean, I kind of enjoy that part of it, so I don't mind doing it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So let's hop into your account here. I'll give you screen sharing capabilities. All right, so we're in Peyton's account. He's got his blur feature on, so YouTube doesn't mess up our videos. Um,
Sorry.
so
I'm picking up.
no, you're good. In
Go
terms
ahead.
of Sift, in terms of your marketing flow, you said you have VAs that handle data intake, skip
Right.
tracing, lead management, and you come in on the acquisition side, you said.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of data are you going for these days? How are you getting it? Where are you getting it? How is it being marketed to? How does it get passed to you? The whole nine yards. Just kind of break it down for us.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we start at the county level. I mean, everything we market to is county data. We don't really do any bulk marketing at this point, but I guess ours could be kind of a hybrid model because we do, I guess I would call it bulk first to market. We have
Okay.
6 counties that we pull in. And then we do Sensei Flow with it, 50 records a day, try to call through them, hit them. And, it's basically the main goal is to get in front of everybody. If we don't reach them, then we put them in a mail cycle. Up to 6 attempts is what we're doing right now. So we've gotten deals from that. Return mail goes into like a deep prospect bucket, and then it kicks back to the caller.
Got you. And then you said six attempts with mail, or was it calling?
No, 6 attempts with mail.
Okay.
We do 3 attempts at calling them, and then we kick it over to the mail.
Okay. So
Or if
exhaust them
they're
at the mail.
exhausted before we get to 6 attempts, like if all the numbers are dead, we'll instantly kick them over to mail.
Okay. Okay. And then does your team, so in terms of like your SIF line boards, what do those look like when your VAs are working them? Is that something you had to work with them and set up for them? What do they kind of look like?
Honestly, I don't even use them.
Oh, beautiful.
I
I
don't
love
use
that,
SIP line
dude.
boards. The only thing I use them for is active deals. Like
Okay.
I see everybody else using them. I'm like, man, it's just way too much stuff moving around. I just
Well,
have
see, because
filters.
I've learned that people operate out of the records page, the filter presets, or the SIF line, and not everybody uses all of them. And a few people that I've interviewed are like, I don't even use SIF line because they just operate out of the filters and the
Yeah,
records page.
that's what I
So
do. I
yeah,
have
that
filter
makes perfect
presets
sense.
set for like daily stuff that people need to do, and it makes it kind of foolproof. They just log in and click a filter, and
Yeah.
They know what they're supposed to be doing.
So this is actually really good because, like you mentioned, you're kind of trying to get to a point where you can be outside of it and just be more on like the project to project. Um, so then how are you managing your team inside of all this? Like, are you daily meetups or how is that? Are you coming in here and checking on your team? Like, how does that work? Because you're kind of in a different position than some of the other interviews I've done. How are you managing all that?
I mean, we just do like a weekly huddle. Tuesdays, 10 o'clock, we come in, we do call reviews. So I have them submit at least three calls every week that they're kind of hung up on and don't know how to, I guess, respond to sellers or, how to navigate through those calls. So I tell them to bring me their hardest three calls. Then they give me like a KPI report and just kind of tell me how many calls they're making, things like that every day. Um, and just kind of make sure I'm checking in with them at least once a week to make sure everything's good.
Got you. Okay. And then, if we could, would you be able to pop up one of your more recent deals that you've been able to close, or one of the more notable ones over the past few months, and maybe just kind of
So,
walk us through how that went?
see if I can find. Let me see
If
if
you
I can
do
figure out
shift scroll, it'll take you,
shift
and then
scroll.
do your scroll thing.
Is there a scroll button? Or
Do you have
talking
like the
about on the
wheel?
mouse?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
There you
cool. Man, that's fucking amazing.
go. Dude, I just learned that like 4 months ago.
Oh man, why didn't I know that?
Dude,
Okay,
that's what I thought too.
that is fucking
I'm paid to work
amazing.
on these things.
All right, cool. So this is this one's one of my favorite deals, honestly. Let's see if I
Awesome.
can find it. Okay, so
Yeah, and just
this one
kind of
actually, like we had been marketing to him for a while. Don't know when the voicemail was left, but my VA left the guy a voicemail and he called us back on that number like a year later from that voicemail. And the only reason I know is because my VA hasn't had that number in forever. And he called back and he was asking for my VA. I'm like, no, that's not him, but he works for me. Like, what can I do to help? So just kind of took him along the cycle. And he basically said, like, look, we've been trying to fix our property from the hurricane. It's been 5 years. The contractor's been digging us around, and we're still not at the point where we're going to get anything done. So he's like, if I can get what I got in it, I'll be happy.
right.
So I was like, all right, well, what do you got in it? He told me he's at like 130, 140. So the contractor tried to buy it. And the contractor was like, well, I'll give you 140. And I was like, look, man, out of good faith, I'll give you 141 just to know, I'm serious. Um, so we bought it, took it down. It was kind of back and forth. He tried to back out of the deal at one point because his kids were like, hey, you're moving too fast. So the kind of whatever they need, let me know. They can call me. I can talk through it with them if they need to. But he got back on board, uh, and we kind of kept the deal moving. We got the renovation done. Um, this one we bought it at 141. I think the renovation was somewhere around 70 or 80, and we're under contract to sell it at 385 with a 10K concession for the seller. So it's one of our best deals to date. So
And what would you consider that if it was hurricane damage? What do you consider that like in terms of a prospect? I mean, it's not, it's not a probate or it's not a foreclosure. Is
deal
it just like a
machine, man.
hurricane damage list, or
Yep, deal machine. It was on my
it's
driving
just
for
a
dollars list.
driving for dollars?
Yeah,
Okay. And then are you still actively doing D for D? I mean, because you still got plenty of hurricane damage. Is there anything like that?
I need to. I need to, man. I got to get back into it because that when I look back historically, like the three biggest deals we've done to date have been driving for dollars. So it's like I need to get back in the car and go drive around. Seems like
I'm thinking so. And then those
yeah.
two correct numbers, it's just two mobile numbers that they had? How does that work?
Um, I think so. I really don't know, man.
Yeah, it's not for you to know.
I want to say one of them was the phone number that my VA initially called him on,
Mhm.
and then I think he maybe called me back off a different number. So I don't know if he
Oh,
got him
and
on a landline and he called me back on a cell or what it
just
was,
added
but
it in there. What I
Maybe
like
they are
seeing is
millennials.
the
Maybe
29 call attempts, 20 SMS attempts.
yeah, I mean, is it?
Yeah, dude, you get right at the top there.
Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. My VA tracks him every time he calls, so I don't know. It's fucking
Well,
on him. I don't know if
that's
he
a
was tracking every time he dialed a number, what it was, but
dude, that's awesome.
yeah, that was a good one.
What was the one that you and Tyler just didn't you and Tyler just do one together?
No, we were talking about one at War. I got one over in Destin, and I still don't have it under contract, but I'm trying to get an agreement on that one. It seems like there's a little competition on that, so it's me and one other person at least. It seems like, but it's got a lot of potential. It's probate and code enforcement, water shut off, and foreclosure, kind of all stacked up into one.
Beautiful. You know, I like your perspective of where you are at in your career, not in your business, but in your career. You're looking for a way to step away from certain areas, and to me, that's you're at a higher level part of your business now. So for someone that's maybe in a similar situation, they got a solid team, they got a solid process. Maybe they need some data refinement, but they're kind of in a similar realm as you. How would you recommend SIFT to them? I mean, is it something that, you know, they think that you think would just be super vital for them, or how would you recommend proceeding into that for someone else who maybe doesn't have SIFT, but they're in a similar position as you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's pretty vital. If not, you're going to spend a lot of money just wasted in marketing because you're not. I don't know of another system where you can track everything through the process. Like I've never used a whole lot of other systems, but I know with SIFT, like you can track wrong phone numbers, correct phone numbers. Like the activity log is huge. Most CRMs are just lead management tools. This is, I mean, from the time it's entered into the system to the time you either buy it or sell it or close, you can look at any record in my account and see anything that's ever happened to it, which I think that's huge because you can reverse engineer, successes and failures. You can go back on this activity log and see what we did to get this deal. And if we would have lost it, we could have looked and seen what we did to lose the deal. So I think it's huge.